I don't got any gimmicks today, baby. Just games. Just video games. So get ready to knuckle up, you crazy I love you all. Let's go have a bad time. Man, I love college exams. They make me feel good. But you know, they're over and done with. 2 exams later, now I can go home and play some video games. Woo! Woo! That's if I make it there. Deuces, baby. So I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I came home, I ate a cookie and I took a nap, and now the urge to beat someone up is gone. But I was still going to play these fighting games anyways, because I might have overdid it a little bit. Look. So, I bought all these fighting games. Some of them I had already, but as I was thinking about what fighting games I want to play, I realized I really don't have that many fighting games. So as time went on, I just kind of thought about it, and I'm like, you know, if I'm going to make a fair assessment of fighting games, then I at least should probably talk about every major fighting game series, you know, rather than just, you know, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and the others. So, yeah, I think I got at least one of every major series, and we're just going to go from there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what's up. I'm still a little tired, not going to lie. We good. It's what we do. So what are we talking about today, boys and girls? Well, we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of Street Fighter. We're going to be talking about the wonderful world of fighting games. So I had this itch to just learn more about fighting games that aren't just Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. You know, there's a lot more out there, and I'm missing out. And I didn't want to be missing out anymore. But little did I know that there are a lot of fighting games out there. Now, I already had a good handful of fighting games in my collection, but I wanted to know more. I needed to get more, and I was not emotionally or financially ready to face that problem. But here I am, I'm still standing, so it is what it is. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Caleb, you're playing a fighting game? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, you got me. I know. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But, hey, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. I'm really just a sweetheart on the inside, you know. I might turn a little bad sometimes when I'm not, you know, reading poetry to the elderly or writing my very humble Hellcat. I'm just a nice guy, you know, what can I say? I know it's a common misconception that, you know, I'm a degenerate, but it's not true. So this is about the most common type of fighting game, and the golden standard that comes to mind is of course Street Fighter. Ignore the very first game of the series though. It was Street Fighter 2 that really served as the blueprint for everything to come, including the likes of Mortal Kombat and Fatal Fury. Okay, so don't get me wrong, like I can get into the Street Fighter series, but after a while, after you play all the games, it's kind of like they just, well, it's kind of like they just blend together, like, I don't know, man. It's really hard to innovate Street Fighter. Okay, but I will say this, hear me now, hear me loud and proud, okay? Even though the mainline Street Fighter games are kind of boring, Street Fighter's got like a ton of spin-offs for no reason, but they're good. They might be better than the mainline games. And I played, okay, I recently got a Sega Saturn, alright, a Japanese version, because all the good games came out in Japan, and the Sega Saturn flourished in Japan, right? It's not common knowledge, but it is if you're like me, which is unfortunate. Don't be like me, right? I got Street Fighter 0 and Street Fighter 2. Dude, these games right here are so good. They're so much fun. Street Fighter 0 is amazing. Street Fighter 2 just adds to that, and it is so phenomenal, man. It really is. It just feels so amazing. You know, I was playing as Sakura, and every time I was jumping, like, you know, she would get hit, and she'd be like, ah, and it looks charming. It's cute. It's adorable. There's also an unnecessary amount of upskirts when you play a Sakura, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? But I mean, the gameplay is also fun. I was using my nerd controller, okay? I was using the big ol' 6-button. Hold on, let me get it. Look at this. This is when you're going 88 miles per hour. You're gonna see some serious shit. Look at that. The Virtua Stick. Oh man. Dude, I was on my sofa like this. Playing Street Fighter Zero. Dude, what a night. What a night. Just grab a Dr. Pepper, put on some Street Fighter Zero, play with the arcade stick, and match made in heaven. Oh, you're gonna like this one. Okay, so Mortal Kombat is a classic, right? It was made to compete with Street Fighter. You know, can't let one franchise have all the fun. Why can't I make my own franchise, right? So Midway was like, all right, look, we're gonna do something, and we're gonna change the game. We're gonna create an ultra-violent gore fest, and that's what Mortal Kombat is. Okay, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat is just one of those games that, like, you know, after a while, it just starts to feel like the same thing. You know, yes, some are better than others. It's like Mortal Kombat 2 is definitely better than Mortal Kombat 1. But, you know, there's not much. I mean, because then you play Mortal Kombat 1, like the new one, and, you know, all it is it's just okay. Finish it. Fatality. Okay, let's stop screwing around with the common stuff that everybody knows. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, who cares? A lot of people, actually. But what I've been playing lately is some Fatal Fury. Now, SNK, that's a company that exists, right? You know, again, it's a solid fighter. The characters are nice and fun. The animation's bright. It's cute. But again, it doesn't do much to, like, stand out. And at this point, just like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, it's in a rut. How much more can you do for the series, really, to make it stand out from the last entry?
Oh my God! Carry 1. Okay.
SNK has been keeping another franchise alive, another 2D fighting game called King of Fighters. I don't have the case for this one. Okay, we got the boring stuff out of the way now, so yeah, I caught those games boring. What? Did I hurt your feelings, huh? Are you sad? It's bold of you to assume that I even care about your feelings. I want to talk about the bad boy. I want to talk about the bad boy of this whole 2D fighting game genre and this whole scene. What do you know? You might see it from here. What do you know? What do you know about Tatsunoko versus Capcom? Huh? Look, I gotta get it out of the way that Capcom runs the fighting game scene. At least they used to for like a really, really, really long time. They had so many fighting games, it's pretty ridiculous. And Tatsunoko versus Capcom was one of their, you know, bread and butter type of tag team fighters. Okay, so Capcom struck gold whenever they made their Marvel vs. Capcom series, and chill, we'll get there, relax, okay, let me do my thing, okay? We'll get to Marvel vs. Capcom, don't you worry. So instead of at one point making another Marvel vs. Capcom game, Capcom just went ahead and collaborated with Tatsunoko. What the hell even is a Tatsunoko? I don't know, but let me tell you more about it. Unbeknownst to my dumbass, Tatsunoko is a production company that has produced anime like Gatchaman, Tekkaman, and Samurai Pizza Cats. Well, with that cast of characters, of course a fighting game with Ryu and Mega Man is the only logical answer. While it's not quite the tag team fighter like Marvel vs. Capcom, the unique roster and over-the-top gameplay makes this a hidden gem in the eyes of many. I don't know where else to say this, and I'm not gonna have room to say this anywhere else in the video. Dude, I was playing Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. I was Beautiful Joe, right? Dude, I hit this guy with like a 50-piece nuggets, and then I hit him with the judo throw. Oh my god, that was the most crispiest thing I've ever done in my life. And right before I gave him the 50-piece nuggets, I blocked his super. It was great. I'd never done anything cooler in my life. That's sad, but it's true. Okay, let's move on, man. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So when gaming was transitioning from 2D to 3D, literally every genre had to make that jump. Like really? Tetrisphere? 3D Tetris? What the hell's wrong with regular Tetris? Fighting games were no exception. Eager to change the game, Sega AM2 developed Virtua Fighter, which was very quickly outshined by everyone else's 3D fighting games. Oh, don't be so hard on Virtua Fighter. Okay, Virtua Fighter is kind of boring, but you know, it's important because it was the blueprint for everything that followed. Okay, so remember Mortal Kombat? Well, Mortal Kombat had a period of time where it went 3D. The games were no longer on a single plane. You could go around in an arena and fight each other. Now, that's the era that I grew up playing Mortal Kombat. So I'm very nostalgic and a little bit biased towards that era. And I think my favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time probably has to be Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I kind of honestly think that at this point, if Mortal Kombat is just going to keep putting out the same game, I think either make a spin-off or just try to go back to this period, because this, man, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and the engine that they used for those 3D games are so much fun and they're so unique. I don't know. Let me know. Do you like the 2D era of Mortal Kombat or do you like the 3D games better? Do you think they should try to go back to making a 3D game? I kind of prefer the 3D games. I really like having the option to move around more. I think it sets up, you know, different moves and different shots. But you gotta be honest with yourselves, okay? There are levels to this game. I know I like the 3D era of Mortal Kombat, but there's levels to this, man. Tekken and Soul Calibur are some of the best 3D fighting games you can ever play. I mean, dude, I gotta be honest. It's super hard to put one over the other, but for me, I'd say Soul Calibur is like the perfect 3D fighting game. It's so fantastical, you know? I hope I'm using that word right. But let me tell you, to this day, Soul Calibur 2, dude, it holds up so well. The graphics still look beautiful. The gameplay holds up. Like, everything about this game is just so good. It aged to perfection. You can pop it in right now, and it's as fun now as it was 20-something years ago. This might just be my favorite 3D fighting game if I never played Tekken 3. Dude, okay. I can't call myself a Tekken fan. I don't eagerly await each new Tekken. I don't really care all that much about Tekken. I always hear Tekken 3, Tekken this, Tekken that. Taking a shit. Tekken 3 is so good. I was not a believer in Tekken 3 until I ordered it and I played it. Oh me, oh my. This, dare I say, this is the best 3D fighting game ever. I know, and that's not an unpopular opinion. That might actually be a very, very common opinion. I couldn't believe that how well this game aged. And okay, graphically it doesn't look the best in this year. In the modern time, you know, we have all these super realistic graphics. But I'm a sucker for the PS1's polygon graphics. So for me, I just love the style of Tekken 3. It's so much fun to look at. It's so much fun to play. It's easy to pick up and play, but difficult to master. It's one of those games, and I can always appreciate that because everybody can get into the game.
Fight! You win.
Everybody was doing 3D, right? Everybody was experimenting, and they were doing their own thing, and they made sure our bellies were full. They made sure we were satiated and had enough to eat, because if they didn't, you know, if they didn't make sure we had enough to eat, well, we couldn't find those little glorious little scraps in the form of, where is it? Right here. Fighters Mega Mix. With Sega AM2 still desperate to make a fighting game, the developers grabbed characters from Virtua Fighter, another series of theirs called Fighting Vipers, and threw in a couple other random characters to give us one of the most hilariously fun fighting games I've ever played. I know it may look like just another 3D fighting game, but when you're laying an ass whooping with a race car and this weird ass bear that has no animation, it's so hard to stop playing. Words cannot even do Fighters Mega Mix any justice, so I just at least pray that you're being swooned by this gameplay footage. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm not done. I'm not done with 3D fighting games. You thought it was over with Fighters Mega Mix. No. I know I said that Tekken 3 might be the greatest fighting game of all time, but Tekken 3 is like Tom Brady, okay? Like, we're led to believe that this is the greatest of all time. When in reality, okay? Rival Schools is like Drew Brees. It actually is the greatest of all time, okay? We're just not allowed to know that. So Capcom just couldn't listen and had to produce a 3D fighting game of their own. I am so glad they did, because Rival Schools is so creative and fun. I love everything about this game. It's hard to explain without sounding repetitive, so picture this. Just imagine a 3D version of Street Fighter, but with some air combos. Now bear with me. It's like Street Fighter meets Dragon Ball. Yeah, I said it.
Victory!
You know, it's kind of funny how, like, we're united by fighting games. The fighting game scene in pop culture is, like, so popular. You know, with the rise of esports and tournaments like EVO, EVO will announce this lineup of games, and everyone will join each tournament and just find out who's the best. You know, and if you haven't seen EVO, they actually pack some crowds, man. It's pretty insane how much of a crowd a fighting game can actually pack. And these fighting game tournaments aren't limited to the big stage, like Evos and stuff like that. You could probably ask around your city right now, and you can find people throwing a tournament, a local, if you will. You know, especially for games like, you know, Street Fighter, most especially for games like Super Smash Brothers. Speaking of Super Smash Bros., there will be people that will gather in watch parties and groups to scream literally at the top of their lungs when they find out that Banjo-Kazooie made the roster of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Can't say I'm not guilty of it. I've never been in a group, but I've screamed at the top of my lungs for these characters. It's just, you had to be there. You had to be there. The cultural impact even goes further, man. I mean, some of these games have been made into like movies. You know, we've had the Street Fighter movies. We got some Fatal Fury movies. We got the Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s. I know they've made newer Mortal Kombat movies, but come on, the one from the 90s with the soundtrack that's like, it's so good. Now, these movies aren't the best movies, but they're memorable. I haven't even mentioned the most culturally significant impact that these fighting games have made. Why are fighting games so horny all the time? Dude, Dead or Alive, Dead or Alive had my head spinning. Dude, there was like titties flying in all different directions. It was crazy. It's like the girl walks and they're like, wow. Oh, but it's not just DOA. A series like Darkstalkers is like super notorious for its exaggeration of certain anatomical parts of the body, you know? But seriously, like, all of these games had me thinking some very bad or very cool thoughts, depending on how you look at it. And because I'm a video game analyst, here's a highlight reel of my findings.
Smash Bros. Ultimate is for good boys and girls of many different ages, so we decided not to feature her. Please forgive us.
So in case you didn't notice, I very, very skillfully avoided talking about what I think is the best fighting game in the bunch. One fighting game to rule them all. Well,
Capcom presents
Ready?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes.
I didn't believe the hype. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2 isn't just almost perfection like some of the games here. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is actually perfection. This game it's out there, it's amazing, the gameplay is so good, the roster is phenomenal, the animations are bright and gorgeous. I can't say enough good about Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Shield slash. Shield slash.
And like earlier, play with an arcade stick? Even better. Play it on a CRT TV? Amazing. Dude, this game right here, perfection. It truly is. So please, 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 please just find a way to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You will not regret it. I promise. So in the end, play whatever you want. If you're a Power Stone kind of guy, if you like Guilty Gear, maybe you're into Killer Instinct or Shaq Fu, you know, you're of a higher mind and you like Shaquille O'Neal's Kung Fu, you know, play whatever you want. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about playing the things that you enjoy. As long as you enjoy them, who cares? As long as we're not talking anything illegal, do whatever you like. Okay, that's enough sentimental stuff. Get lost. Don't smoke the jiggle physics, baby. And I will see you in 7 months, like always. Goodbye. Mwah.